I got into the Xenoblade Chronicles series early 2021. After Power and Mythra got added to Smash, I thought it was time to try the games out. So my friend lent me the first one, and with it I had one of the best experiences I've ever had playing a video game. Xenoblade Chronicles 1 is a masterpiece. Everything from the amazingly written story to lovable characters, unique gameplay, and one of the best soundtracks I've ever heard. All these things make this game truly special. After finishing the first game, I then played the second one, which, admittedly, I didn't like as much at first. The gameplay kinda confused me, and some of the voice acting, well, no more needs to be said about that. And some mechanics like field skills annoyed me at points. But then I played more. I understood the gameplay, which I ended up liking even more than the first games. The voice acting got better and even elevated most of the scenes. The story and characters were really good, and I personally liked the first game's story more, but this one still had a lot of memorable moments in it. This cast does sadly contain Tora, which brings it down slightly, but all the other party members are great, and the music has not declined at all. In fact, I'd argue it's gotten even better. Despite its flaws, this and Xenoblade 3 are the only games that have ever made me cry, and I generally never cry at media, so that in itself shows just how powerful these games can be. I will definitely be making videos on a cutscene from 2 and a certain character from 1 in the near future. Almost a full year after I played the first 2 Xenoblade games, the first one was announced, and needless to say, I was hyped. A new Xenoblade game that connects the previous 2, a new story which may even have some of the old characters I love so much, a new combat system, a new soundtrack. It wasn't even a question, I was going to buy this game release day and I did. This video isn't a review of said game, however. That idea never really appealed to me when I finished it, and it still doesn't now. But if you want my very quick thoughts, it's just as amazing as the previous ones, and is even better in some areas. No, this video is about a certain cutscene. A perfect cutscene which has you feeling defeated for almost 30 minutes. A cutscene with some of the best angles, voice acting, dialogue, and musical choices in the entire Xenoblade series. The best cutscene in Xenoblade 3. This is how Xenoblade 3 crafted the perfect suffocating experience in the cutscene. It's been fun, Noah. So to understand why this cutscene works so well, we'll need a bit of context. The party is going up against 2 Mobius, N and M, who look strangely exactly like Noah and Mia. After some struggle to adapt to M's power, and one of the best looking fight scenes in the series, N decides he wants to step in now and absolutely bodies the party, like it's not even close. Lance and Senna attempt to sacrifice themselves, but X intervenes and the party's powers are sealed. At this point, it looks completely hopeless, but then N comes up with a plan he describes as amusing. Mia has 1 month left until her lifespan runs out, so N plans to keep everyone in prison, helpless as all they can do is wait and watch Mia die at the homecoming. This setup works really well at establishing just how sadistic N can be, as he devises a plan he knows will mentally torture the entire party, especially Noah, just to show them how pointless their efforts truly are. At this point, we don't know why N is like this, why he looks like Noah, why he's Mobius. During his monologue at the beginning of this cutscene, all these questions are in the viewer's head. So yeah, this sets up the tragic situation well and establishes N as a sadistic threat. But that's only the beginning of how this cutscene makes you feel complete and utter despair. Before this scene takes place, we cut back to the city with Monica and Gondor. This is the game's way of saying, yeah, so you know how you thought maybe the main cast would get rescued? No. Then A Step Away starts playing, and it cuts back to Mia looking out into the night. This is the only time this song plays, and I do want to talk about it more in a later section. It kind of reminds me of Drifting Soul from Xenoblade 2, which, if you know when that song plays for the first time, is not a good sign of things to come. While the song plays, we see the characters struggling to find a way to escape the prison, all while we get constant reminders that time is slowly running out. I love the depiction of the moon to show the time slowly passing by. It further builds suspense since we get no control and watch the characters we've overcome so many obstacles with fail with no help in sight. Shania then pops up, which might make you feel anger as you remember this is all her fault for snaking the group in the first place. She then decides to start taunting, and Noah gets up livid and grabs the bars. I love the detail in his eyes, it's perfect, and honestly, at this point I was just hoping he'd choke her through the bars. As Shania walks off laughing at them, the game remembers that this is technically Senna's chapter. Nah, but in all seriousness, Senna gets more focused in this chapter, starting with a flashback at the start of it. Unfortunately, she has to share this chapter with, well, the best cutscene in the game. and then later she has to basically give away her side story to Gondo and Shania. So it's good the game does give her a moment where she gets reassured by Mia about all her accomplishments throughout the game and how useful she did end up being, which was a big concern of hers.
Like, pull my weight, you know?
Mia then ends the scene by saying that
Time is still on our side.
this may raise the player's hopes a little bit. Thoughts like, maybe there's still a chance everyone will get out of this alive. This scene makes the player feel many different emotions in the span of only a few minutes. Sadness, anger, even a bit of relief by the end. We even get some really nice character interactions from it for a bit of comfort through this depressing time. Speaking of characters, let's talk about how the main cast is handled in more detail. The characters are done so right here. In every single word they speak, you can feel how drained everyone is and how deep they've sunk into despair. Noah and Mia That's Not Mia absolutely steal the show here. But it's also important we talk about everyone else as well, as they help add to the bleak atmosphere. They all show immense frustration in their dialogue and their animations at not only their situation, but also themselves. They failed. They weren't able to go all the way with their journey. They even start to doubt whether everything they've been doing has had any point to it. Saving Mia would require a miracle, so the only option they have is to wait while she's so close but impossible to reach. There are also some moments certain characters have which make the situation even more grim. The usually calm Tyon slams the ground out of anger and grunts, which shows just how distraught he is. In fact, after Mia finishes talking, almost everyone breaks out in tears. At this point, they've been in here for almost a month, and her words here are just too much for them to handle. Throughout this cutscene, when no one's talking, the party looks down at the floor or their hands, or look through the window which has the moon on full display, which just adds to the player's already increasing sadness. The characters and animations heighten the hopeless feeling, and if you want a perfect example of this, let's talk about Noah. Noah looks very tired. He has bags under his eyes, and after punching the bars, his knuckles stay bloody throughout the whole cutscene. His look reflects his mental state at this point in time, and that's not where the positives end for how he's portrayed here. He talks to the others about how he used to believe he could reach people, but now that's a distant thought. He can't even rescue the people closest to him, figuratively and literally. He starts to break down, trembling and disappointed with how things have turned out, and the delivery of these lines is perfect.
It's unbearable, seeing life slip away from you. Even though they're right there. What am I even doing?
Then Mia starts to speak. She appreciates how warm the starlight is to start conversation, and then changes her mind from the beginning of the game and states that she wants to live. Mia declaring she wants to live when we know her time is almost up is heartbreaking. It's after doing this that she says Noah's name, and Noah says,
Finally. You called me by my name.
One might at this point think to themselves, wait, really? And yeah, it's hard to believe at first, but once you think about it for a second, it all comes back to you. Mia always referred to Noah by using words like him, or you, or hey, and always avoided saying his name. The time she had left was already so short before her imprisonment, so she didn't allow herself to say Noah's name for fear of getting too attached. This detail is super good but then saddening, as you realise that Mio is finally saying his name because this is the last chance she's going to get. Mio tells Noah that he's not allowed to say it's all been for nothing because he's enriched her life, and that if she was given more time, she'd want to spend that time with her Noah. This line not only crushes the audience's heart, but also crushes Noah's as he breaks out in tears. The voice acting is really amazing, and the animation of him grabbing his head while crying is perfect. As I said earlier, Noah and Mia steal the show here, and bring a lot of heartache to the player. But of course, another big component that drives home the emotional power of these scenes is the music. At the beginning, while En is there explaining his plan, we get That to Which the Defeated Cling, which instantly makes us feel the weight of the situation and is perfect for his monologue. Then, for almost all the other scenes in the prison, we get somber tracks like A Life Overflowing, which amplify the depressing mood and are played with perfect timing to what's happening in the scene. The final piece of music I wanted to talk about was A Step Away again, because not only is it one of the best tracks in the game, but the lyrics also help the scene. When playing through it the first time, you could interpret it as Noah's words to Mia. Even the song's title, A Step Away, could refer to the fact that Mia is extremely close to Noah but still unreachable. A Step Away is beautiful. In fact, all the tracks that play here are. With that, almost all the pieces are together. A perfect setup which shows the player just how hopeless the situation is. Amazingly written character moments and dialogue which show the players the character's descent into despair, how they're handling it, and gives the player immense heartache with some perfectly chosen lines and great voice acting. Extremely well done animations depicting the party's tiredness and depression through this soul-crushing period, and beautiful music choices which amplify the melancholy atmosphere. So now, we talk about the final piece, the part of this cutscene which brings all these elements together to make this cutscene truly special. The party are brought out and forcefully thrown onto their knees, forced to look in the direction the homecoming is about to take place. At this point I remember thinking to myself, even if they do somehow save Mio, now she has no time left. And that's why this works so amazingly. Even if a miracle were to happen, we don't know of any way Mio lives past this day. The crowd starts chanting about the queen and we finally see Nia. We know this Nia is a fraud at this point, so it's not exactly her grand return, but her rising while the chanting is going on helps build the tension even more. I love the next part when our main cast start talking about Nia, and Uni mouths off about how Nia is a phony. But then she loses her usual attitude when she realizes that they'll probably be executed soon after this. The detail of her hands relaxing as she has this epiphany is really smart. The party has now lost all hope of rescue and just hope the city will be able to finish their mission for them. And yet again, the voice actors are really doing good here.
It's all been so pointless, fighting for that thing.
The queen then finishes her speech and the Offseers start playing a beautiful but menacing melody as the camera pans to the consoles and then Noah, who looks like he's about to pass out. The music gets quieter as Riku tells him not to give up and that he still hasn't tried to draw Lucky 7. Suddenly, there seems to be a way out, a shining light at the end of this dark tunnel, a final hope. Mio is then walked out, as everyone is both a little relieved to see her again, but also horrified at what is about to happen to her. Noah leaps out to try and get to her and is instantly grabbed by the guards, but then En stands over him and releases his shackles. En throws down Noah's flute and taunts him by telling him to do his role and send his Mio. If we didn't already think En was a prick, this moment will definitely do it. And the shot of En standing over Noah with the moon in the background is perfectly threatening. The music erupts a final time, sounding heroic as Noah slowly reaches for his flute, making us think he'll somehow turn this around by drawing Lucky 7, his knuckles still bloody. But then it stops as it pans to Mio. He's too late. Time is up. The moon is fully covered. Noah drops his flute broken, and Mio turns around and says,
It's been fun, Noah.
Mio!
as she turns to particles and is finally sent off while everyone watches. Noah shouts her name and cries and is seemingly executed by En, and that's where it ends. The player probably knows Noah will survive, but how that part of the scene was executed was nothing short of perfection. And that is how this game keeps its players in despair for almost 30 minutes. Obviously, going into this scene, we know the game won't kill off the whole cast, but that doesn't kill the cutscene for two reasons. One, we have experienced Xenoblade killing off party members in the past, so it's not too far-fetched they might have killed off Mio. And two, even knowing that most of the cast will make it out of this situation somehow, the game still does an outstanding job making things as bleak as possible and make us believe that escape is impossible. And it was. By cranking every element of this scene up to 100, the voice acting, characters, animations, music, and dialogue, Xenoblade 3 crafts the perfect, suffocating experience. Thanks for watching. It's a new year now and that means I want to try and improve this channel. So, from now on, I am uploading regularly instead of the once every 3 months thing I did before. This means more content on video games like Xenoblade and many others, the Tracy Beaker content I've been putting off for a while now, and other things I have the desire to talk about. So stick around, and once again, thanks for watching.